Hello, everyone. This is Rick Latona, and we are doing an open house today of Debbie's Caribbean Resort Reviews. I am joined by the current owner, Eddie Lubbers, or Lubers. It's a Dutch name. I'm sure I pronounced it wrong. Welcome, Eddie. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's Lubbers, actually. Dutch.
Oh, okay. I was right the first time then. Thank you.
Yeah.
So before we get into this, I need to show this screen to everybody. It gives those who can't hear a chance to see what might be wrong, and also for everybody else, I'm gonna ask the questions that you guys ask me. You guys got to ask me through the software, through the text chat, and I'll ask them when it's appropriate because I kind of know when we're going to get to that subject in the presentation, or at the end of the presentation if there's not going to be a section, within the neighborhood of your question. So with that, let me first tell you about the deal. This is a travel website. It's been around a long time, but Eddie will tell us all the history about that. Its current profit is around $40,000 a year. So before I hand it over to you, Eddie, I want to let everybody know that I didn't do all these fancy graphics and everything like that. That Eddie's actually much better at presentations than me. He provided me with some really great screenshots, and for that I'm thankful. So tell us about the site, Eddie, kind of like a history of it and a general overview.
Okay, so Debbie's is you can say it's a mini TripAdvisor for the Caribbean. It actually predates TripAdvisor a couple of years. And really, it's been at the forefront of this whole trend of user-generated content. Obviously, today, TripAdvisor has outgrown any of the sites in this category to dominate the category. Still, for the Caribbean, Debbie's is in wing-to-wing competition with TripAdvisor. If you search for a hotel or resort in the Caribbean region, or for a destination like Punta Cana reviews or Cancun resort reviews, you'll find Debbie's coming up. In fact, there's not a lot of other sites out there offering resort reviews. And so the original website was started by a lady called Debbie Downey from into a all-inclusive holiday in Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic. She made up a little website for the resort where she was staying at, and all of a sudden other people started sending her reviews about that resort. Then she thought, hey, this is interesting. She started Debbie's DominicanTravel.com to feed resorts across the Dominican Republic. Then people started sending her reviews about resorts across the entire Caribbean. That's how she developed into Debbie's Caribbean ResortReviews.com. Basically offering resort reviews in the way that you will probably know TripAdvisor works as well. She ran it for a long time with her husband Pat, taking care of the very basic HTML, and then herself receiving reviews and posting them online, and also us answering questions. And I was an advertiser. I own a travel company, Caribbean Travel Network, and what we did is, after being an advertiser for a year or so and wanting to expand in the region, I decided to buy the website. We then completely revamped it.
When was that? When was that, Eddie?
That was in 2009.
Okay.
Yeah. And so recognizing the SEO strength of the site, and also allowing us to into not just travel transactions but travel media, and seeing an opportunity to really turn it around and take it to another level, we actually did a complete revamp of the website, having it now powered by our proprietary content management system. We've changed the ad model. I think there's a few slides further down that detail that. But it basically, to keep it to the scope of this slide, that's pretty much who's Debbie's.
Okay, great. Thanks for that. So here we have a list of assets. So there's there's a 3 sites, right? Not just 3 domains. And I guess tell us what we're looking at here.
Okay, so yeah, these are 3 sites. However, Debbie's Hotel Reviews, which is the 3rd site that she added with the ambition to provide worldwide reviews, that never materialized. In fact, we never developed it further. And our development efforts have gone into the Caribbean site and the Dominican site, whereby both, although they're separate domain names, they're operated pretty much with a single effort in terms of well, the platform it's a single platform, and they're hosted separately, but all the content pulls from a central database. They're also separately indexed in Google, of course, but you can pretty much operate them as a single site. The content, we've done extensive write-ups and have in our database about 1,500 hotels in the Caribbean. That's not at all complete. Perhaps there's about 4,000 resorts in the Caribbean, but not all of them are suitable even to write contents about. We've been reactive about this, so as soon as a person would send a review about a hotel that we hadn't online, we would add it based on that review. So it's not really necessary to go out and try to be yellow pages of resorts. So we've been going about reactively about that. The hotel reviews are coming in on a daily basis. In high season, you get more reviews than you get in low season. And we are today, we get about 15 to 20 reviews a day. In low season, you would get, meaning June, July, August, you would get maybe 3 or 5 a day. The amount of reviews compared to TripAdvisor is a lot less, obviously, but still it's pretty constant. And also, if you have an opportunity to tie in with a tour operator, for example, there's ways to generate more reviews, obviously, but this is where we stand today. And we have a lot of content about destinations, which is also great for SEO, obviously. Then we have software. We have a Debbie's app, which is all but released in the App Store. Frankly, because we paused developments and didn't go to the extent of launching it in the App Store, but it's a matter of weeks to get that done. It's really getting the App Store approval, and then the app is ready to go. It's a really cool vacation reminder app, which we can detail later for specific persons specifically interested. Fast Content is our proprietary content management system, which powers the 2 websites. Fast Ads is our proprietary ad manager system, which you'll see some slides from further down. You'll know Ad Manager and Analytics, and ProBoards is actually now, it's still live, which is the forum side. We have about 25,000 registered forum members, active members. And then there's some hardware, 1 server in St. Catharines and 1 in the Netherlands.
Okay. I was going to ask you, the content management system, is that something legacy that was built a long time ago prior to inexpensive content management systems, or is that part of what the revamp in 2009?
Well, it's something that we've used for our other websites as well. Like I said, I bought Debbie's looking at a synergy with my main travel transaction business, and part of this deal is that we will provide you a copy of the content management system. It's a pretty sophisticated system, and I think it beats a lot of the stuff that's out there today, and it's been totally customized. And a copy of that system comes with the deal.
Okay. All right. So here's a little bit more on just the history. You were saying the 98, the original site, the 2000, the reduced site, 2009 is when you acquired it, launched the new version, continued to improve it, the version 3 in 2010 and 11. Okay, it's all pretty self-explanatory. Did I miss anything there?
No, no, and it's been running in its current shape and form since early 2011, and really, if you look at Debbie's hotelreviews.com, which was one of the 3 domains and the one that we never developed, you'll see the huge difference between the way that the sites were previously built and promoted and the way we've done it.
Got
and
it.
The introduction specifically of the digital Debbie's character, I'll just give you a quick background about that. So the original Debbie is a lady from Ontario, Canada.
So she doesn't look so Dominican.
Exactly. So what we did is, rather than have people only associate themselves to a lady, a Canadian lady, which is not exactly a global approach, we figured we're going to put her in the destination so that anybody could relate themselves to her, and that's how we came to the Dominican or to the Caribbean character of Debbie's today.
Got it. All right, so and this is what you changed on the model. So now your content's mostly generated by users now. How much staff? What do you? I mean, how much do you spend on content now?
Well, like I said, Debbie's for us was sort of a bolt-on acquisition. So right now, the editor, we have a guy in our marketing department who's actually running the editorial side of it, creating a weekly editorial scheme, updating the various content sections of the site, and publishing and creating a few articles. But very little time is spent on that. I say there's a full-time editor, but the reality is that it doesn't take up that much time to update the various sections on a weekly basis. Adding hotels, we do it reactively, like I said. It depends on who ends up operating the website. You could say, let's put Bermuda on the map, and you can do a big push and have every single hotel in Bermuda. That wasn't really the way we operated the site. And we would add a hotel once a review from Bermuda would come in. On the tech development side, obviously you can take it as far as you want, and let's be realistic, you're up against a huge and leading media company in the shape of TripAdvisor. They must have 500 staff or so, and they've definitely set the pace for the market. On the other hand, Debbie's is a niche, which is something that TripAdvisor can never compete with. So the development, you can take it as far and as you want, of course, but in the current setup, there's no real need for immediate improvements. But that's up to the new owner to take it further. But there's definitely, the site is definitely state-of-the-art as it is today. On the commercial side, that's very few. There's the Google AdSense revenues, and there's about a core of 4 or 5 advertisers that have been extremely loyal over the past years. A sample of that you'll see a bit further down the line. And again, that's up to the new owner to take that to a new level.
Great. So now you've got CPC, CPA, display ads. So what does this display mean? You're charging on a CPM basis?
Yes, we have on a display side we have Google AdSense, obviously, and then we have an agreement with a guy in Canada from Few Digital Media who goes out and markets the site to, in this case, Canadian advertisers. He could do it for the US as well. And so he goes out with Debbie's in his portfolio and markets it to advertisers who are keen to reach our audience, and then he gets a cut of the gross sales amount. We have a current campaign for the 2nd year running with the Cuba Tourist Board, and he's able to get really good CPMs. And so that's on the display side. On the CPC side, We have agreements with OTAs. In this case, iTravel 2000 is one of the leading retailers in the Canadian market. We have also Cheap Caribbean for the US, and they pay for the search box that you see on the home page. It's pretty much a meta search model. And we have direct agreements whereby we charge them per click of each of these searches initiated through that booking box. And we also have pay-per-click text ads from Google on the site. Then we have CPA, some affiliate agreements with, well, one with Affiliate, a company from Spain, who is very deep into all these resort companies. A lot of the resorts in the Caribbean work with Affiliate with their affiliate program. So they're like an aggregator of affiliate programs directly with the resorts. And then we have SEO agreements with Conductor, although I think Conductor has now changed their name, to be honest. We should have updated this slide. They've become iAcquire.
Oh, so and they sell links for you.
They sell links for us, but we also have people on a weekly basis coming saying, hey, I want to add an SEO link here. Basically, a lot of the SEO optimization software that companies use, that travel companies use, will automatically flag Debbie's as a strategic website to place links. And so that's how we get a lot of direct agreements with people wanting to place a link, and we charge anywhere between $30 to $100 a month for these direct links.
Okay, and what percentage of your revenue would you say comes from those links?
From these links, our revenue come. Let me have a look.
It might be broken out on a further slide.
Probably about 10%. Yeah, it is broken down in one of your later slides.
All right,
about 10% today.
That's good if it's 10%. Although we didn't want it to be too high. All right.
No. And obviously we've been extremely discreet about it, and we're totally aware that we would put in jeopardy the current rankings if we would be too aggressive. But it's been an interesting source of revenue.
Yeah. I think most people do it. If it's done right, you just don't want to be too aggressive about it. So obviously, what everybody's going to see on this slide that's on the screen now is the decline. Well, I guess what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, well, obviously, Debbie's was going strong and very steadily up until 2008 with Debbie's selling ads to advertisers based in the Caribbean destinations. She didn't really have a rate card. She didn't really have a ad server system. And she had a lot of small advertisers. I inherited about 50 or 60. But then we tried to take the business to a new level. We spent a lot of time and focus on redeveloping the website so that it was scalable, to professionalize the commercial setup. That's why I mentioned the new monetization model. And what you see here really is us during 2 years sacrificing revenues in favor of long-term development. You do see a bit of an increase in 2011, which is when the new advertisers started kicking in. So instead of going after small advertisers in destinations like Cancun and having a small resort or a water park or something pay for a monthly banner, we changed that around. We've reduced it to a number of major advertisers, producing more than the individual small ones were doing before, and professionalizing it and talking to tourist boards and talking to major tour operators who understand the concept of CPC and display and CPA and whatever. So what you're seeing here is first and foremost a focus in long-term development, sacrificing short-term revenues, and secondly, a change from a whole bunch of advertisers to only a small set. Google revenues have gone down, I think, in line with the market. That's not any of potential buyers would have been aware of the CPC over this period going down as well. And it also reflects the fact that as a media company, being part of a travel transaction company, I've never had a person dedicated to media sales as such, which would obviously take this to a whole nother level. But I think the fact that we have major tour operators, even a destination bureau as current advertisers ongoing, shows the interest and the understanding of the market on the value of Debbie's as a Debbie's audience.
Okay. So we took this screenshot from AdSense, just so really just for proof of revenue for people in the audience to see. That was November. It was December so far. I included a lot of what you sent me, Eddie. So
Yeah.
you know, this was just a copy of an insertion order, I guess, for when you're selling direct to one of those small advertisers, I assume.
Yeah, but I wouldn't call Cheap Caribbean small. I mean, anybody familiar with the travel industry will know that Cheap Caribbean is one of the largest Caribbean-focused travel transactions companies. In the same way that Debbie's is a niche player with regards to TripAdvisor, Expedia is a niche Cheap Caribbean is a niche player as an OTA. It doesn't mean, and it's a big company. We've also had home away advertising. We've had sandals we have a contract with iTravel 2000, which is a company doing 300 million a year. So we have these direct relationships with blue chip companies.
Okay, that's great. Thanks for correcting me on that.
Yeah, and this is, sorry, by the way, that was the insertion order for 2013. There's a signed copy that goes with that, but it's at the bottom. It didn't fit in the slide.
Okay, so how much of the advertising for 2013 is guaranteed?
Well, the insertion order with Cheap Caribbean is signed, with iTravel is in place, as well as with another advertiser called escapes.ca. Then there's the AdSense, of course. So I would say that it's very much a copy of 2012 in terms of the advertiser relations in place.
Okay. So this is your content management system, or it says it was, I don't know. We have creating insertion orders up here on the top. Are they the same thing?
Yes, this is the fast content tool, as we call it, in-house developed, and this is where from the direct relationships you would configure a campaign. Let's say the insertion order with Cheap Caribbean says they want to spend $500 a month. You go into the back office and you configure the budget and also the pay-per-click amount that is agreed. In this case, I think it was 25 cents per click, and then you configure it into the back end to produce that number of clicks.
Got it. And this is the clicks that was produced, and other information on the clicks?
Yeah, this is the statistics report. We don't have a facility whereby they can log in themselves and check it. That would require some development. But I mean, any request of a click report can be automatically and instantly generated and sent to them via email in Excel or in PDF. And we also have graphic versions of that show with a bar graph the traffic per day.
Got it. And so, using your content management system, you're distributing it to other sites too, or what is this applying?
Yes, well, again, because of the idea of having Debbie's, a bit the way that Expedia had their media property TripAdvisor and was driving a lot of traffic. That was the initial logic for me acquiring this site. And so some of our booking websites, like DominicanTravelNetwork.com, we would have the reviews coming from Debbie's, and in fact we still have that today. But basically, you can go to any website, a destination portal, I don't know, hellobahamas.com, and say to them, look, why don't you pull the reviews from my website, and then you can give them an XML feed or they can easily integrate that into their website or in any website for that matter. And it's similar to what TripAdvisor has had for quite some time now. And that will, first of all, increase exposure of Debbie's, of course, and secondly, it will increase the possibilities of receiving reviews, generating reviews.
Sure, and backlinks.
And, well, backlinks, well, it's integrated into a website, so I'm not sure how that would work, but for sure it will increase impressions and it'll increase reviews. And we've implemented that on our proprietary network of websites, which is quite big actually, the network, but it's easily implemented on any other website.
Okay. So what are we looking at here?
This is a click report for iTravel 2000 for which is filtered by country. We can if you have an American company that says I just want, because it's I don't know, an American-based tour operator, or it's a company that just has an audience or a product that's relevant for a U.S. audience, they can filter that by country. For example, where I am today, I'm in the Dominican Republic, and I cannot see from here the search box that goes into the booking and booking engines of these tour operators, because it's not relevant to sell it from the Dominican Republic. So we filter through IP, and what we see here is simply an Excel generated from the reporting module.
Okay.
And in fact, invoicing is based on this. So when we send out an invoice to a client, we send them the click report together with the invoice, which multiplies the amount of clicks by the agreed pay-per-click amount.
Got it. So you sent this was taken, just so everybody knows. A lot of these screenshots that I've taken were from a very meticulously put together PowerPoint that Eddie had done, and so I'm not sure how current this was though, or how long ago you did that. It looks like the text says here the monthly average January through December 2011. Well, we've got screenshots of analytics coming also, but I just want to make sure everybody who's looking at this knows. And Eddie, correct me if I'm wrong, but these are 2011 stats, correct?
Yes, whereby I would say that the visitor loyalty, the country origin, and the top 5 online destinations wouldn't have changed so much. Traffic has changed, but the other components haven't changed so much. And it's important to recognize the weight of the Canadian audience there.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Why would so many come from Canada?
Because, well, that's where Debbie's was originally launched, and also because the Caribbean resorts, the largest, proportionally anyway, audience there is Canadian as well. Canadians love all-inclusive resorts.
Does it, even so, it's still amazing, even though the Canadians love them. Is it possible that it ranks better in Google.ca? I mean,
that as well. I mean, the servers there, and And again, Debbie got a lot of press coverage in the Canadian market. So altogether that adds up to this weight of Canada in the audience.
Okay. All right, so here's just some more information on the demographics. We'll just let everybody kind of look at this for a second, and then we'll move on to the next slide. So here's the 2012 screenshot that we took directly from your analytics account. It took a hit, looks like, probably from the Panda update or Penguin update. I can't remember which one was in March, April. Or is it something else?
Sorry. Yeah, there's an important component here, which is seasonality. Anybody in the audience that operates a travel website will know and recognize that. Being a site with a lot of Canadian audience, it follows the Canadian travel patterns, and people in anywhere between April and November don't really travel to the Caribbean. It's very much a winter season thing. So that's what you see. The decline is very much related to the seasonality and not so much to the Google updates, although the Google updates have also affected the website. But this is more an effect of seasonality than an effect of search.
Okay, well, what I did want to say to everybody on the subject of seasonalities, or on the subject of Google updates, is this is an older site, so even if it did take a hit, it wasn't wiped off the map like like some of your competitors probably were. It's still here, and it's been, what I see right here is stability, at least since this part.
Absolutely, and this goes years back, of course, and it's also a fact that if you compare it to 3 years' time, we would have lost traffic. But what it also shows you is the robustness of the website, for sure.
Here's a similar screenshot, but this one is from Debbie's Dominican travel, and then we have Debbie's hotel reviews.
Yeah, and really Debbie's Hotel Reviews, it being just a domain name, is really, in terms of traffic, we've never worked at it.
Yeah, that's fine. We included it here for completeness. Yeah. So, there's some of the major keywords that we saw. This just came from SEMrush. So obviously this didn't come. This is also U.S. traffic. I don't think that when we were putting this presentation together that we had made the Canadian correlation. For those that want to do some homework themselves, if you use semrush.com, I'm not sure if you know it or not, but there's a drop-down menu where you can change it from U.S. to Canada. So while Eddie was talking, I just went and looked, and it's definitely showing a higher search value so here's Canada, which is significantly higher than the U.S. So again, on this that we had prepared prior to the presentation, we didn't know about the Canada thing, or we hadn't put 2 and 2 together. So these are just U.S. numbers, but obviously the Canadian numbers are better. Here's some research we found. Referring domains, backlinks, indexed URLs on each of the sites. The expenses, I know that's quite a jump. We just went from referring domains all the way to expenses, but it's the order the slides in. So let's talk about this for a second. It's just hosting, and then in October there was another expense. There's no other expenses to run this?
Now, what happened is I started reflecting a part-time person doing some of the editorial stuff just for the sake of the listing with you. So it's a bit, it sort of takes it out of context, but really the hosting is a permanent and fixed cost. And then the editorial side, if you want to give it, since this person, the person currently operating the site for me, also works in a marketing department. If you would if you would put a price on his work, you would probably say, well, something like $350 a month. It depends where you're based. If you operate it yourself, obviously you wouldn't have that expense. And if you have somebody even on a remote basis updating the site, I'm sure you could get to an arrangement to add some content here and there for an amount, something like $350 a month.
Got it. So tell us about the day-to-day operation running the site. What's a day in the life?
Okay, so basically reviews come in throughout the day, and people do expect them to be posted within 24 hours. They require to be reviewed, perhaps edited. Some people don't spell correctly. Some people may put in a header that's over the top. So you need to post those reviews. They're automatically loaded into the CMS because people fill out a form, and it's just a matter of approving it and slightly editing it in the CMS. Any approval or a confirmation of the review being posted will be automatically sent as a result of the operator approving the review. There may be emails coming in from people wanting to know about the destination, about a particular resort. Those are actually interactions that are opportunities maybe to refer them to one of the advertisers sections, and then they can initiate a search there. So you can sort of steer the traffic and towards where you can monetize it. You may get an inquiry from an advertiser to run a campaign, and then on a weekly basis there is the publishing of an editorial schedule where there's 3 sections of the site: a recommended section, an article which is more like a blog, and the top 10 listing. And really the person currently in charge takes half an hour each week to update the content schedule. Obviously you can take that a lot further, but this is how we simply operate it today. And then on a monthly basis there is the Google Analytics and the invoicing of the steady base of 5 advertisers. So I would say probably between half an hour and an hour a day's work.
Okay. And if you were to hand the keys over to a new owner and they asked you, you know, what have you always wanted to do to the site but you never got around to? What do you see as a potential future for this thing? What would you tell them?
Okay, look, like I said, it's been a bolt-on acquisition whereby we were able to do a lot of improvements on the website on a technical standpoint. We've completely revamped the commercial setup, but I would spend more time with the existing advertisers. I would spend time getting new advertisers on board, and it's not that difficult. Debbie sells itself. So I would spend time on the commercial side. The content side of it isn't really that much of a requirement. And I would then obviously try to get Debbie's onto a mobile platform. You don't have to have the whole website there. The app itself is a very cool, simple app that will be able to generate traffic and also a lot of sympathy. And I'm happy to explain to interested parties the app in more detail. It's a unique feature.
And the app is something that's been built but it hasn't taken live?
That is correct, yeah. And you get the source code and the whole concept and everything with it. And it was built by an app store developer, one of the coolest companies in Toronto. It's just a matter of our shifting priorities that we never brought it up to the App Store.
Got it. So why are you selling it?
Well, I think I've hinted at that before. I have a travel company. It's very successful in the Caribbean. I'm in the Dominican Republic myself right now. We have 60,000 travelers a year, which makes us a fairly large player in the region. But we are a travel transaction company. We're not a travel media company. And we have a lot of projects on the various islands to develop our business further. I'm keen to reach 100,000 travelers, physical people that have actually traveled with us in the next 2 years or so. And what I need is focus on that. And Debbie's also deserves the focus of a full-time owner dedicated to that business and taking it to a next level.
Fair enough. Well, I think that because you sent me so much useful material to put and then in the presentation, and then you did such a thorough job explaining each of the slides, that our vote of confidence that we did everything right is that I have no questions waiting for us to answer. So we're finished. So I'll end by telling anybody who's listening, if you're interested, you can contact Andrew at Latonas.com. Again, that's Andrew at Latonas.com. He's the listing broker, and he can get you more information on it, or you just go to the site and click on any of the contact links, and we'd love to tell you more about it. Thank you, Eddie, for your time, and everyone for attending.
Okay, you're most welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.